it get lonely because a lot of people know you, but nobody really know you. Yeah. And this guy was just like, hey, Joshua Van, can I take a picture with you? And then I was like, me? I didn't want to tell a lot of people because it was like spiritual, so a lot of people don't believe in that, so I couldn't even have a real conversation with people. Everything I talk about was fighting.
What's been the hardest thing? And we'll talk about, the levels that you've reached here in a minute, and we talked a little bit earlier, but what's been the hardest thing about all the attention that you've received after winning the title?
Well, it's great, and sometimes it's hard at the same time, right? Because sometimes you just want to go out with your families, and then some people recognize you, and you just eating, and they be like, "Hey, can we get a picture?" Yeah. One or two is fine, but then when you keep repeating, like it's kind of like you don't have alone time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it get lonely because a lot of people know you, but nobody really know you. Yeah. So it does get lonely sometimes. So that's the downside. But then the good side is that a lot of people know you, and you see that you inspire a lot of younger generation. So that was the good.
Yeah. So what was it like the first time somebody asked for your autograph?
I laughed, man. I was like, "You talking to me?" Like I was like, "Yeah," And then my mom was laughing too. And then they told my mom.
Your mom was right there.
Yeah, it was funny. Like I couldn't believe like people actually want to take a picture with me.
You remember when that was? What?
It was after my second fight in the UFC. We was in New York, and then we came back to Houston, and then our family have dinner, and this guy was just like, hey, Joshua Van, can I take a picture with you? And then I was like, me? I couldn't believe it. But it was funny, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get to your winning the title, your fight against Pantoja, but first, you have one loss in the UFC. What was that like? And I think more like, how did it happen, and what did it feel like after the fact?
It was a great humbling for me. Yeah. And the reason why I said it is because I was getting cocky, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of things I go through leading up to that fight. Sure. They cancel 3-4 times. Like they cancel a fight that it was supposed to happen like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, going through it.
And just staying prepared.
And then they say you fighting, and then the next day they say you're not fighting.
Yep. Yeah.
So that kind of throw off a lot of fighters, which I'm one of them. Yeah. And they called me a week notice for that fight, and then I thought it was gonna be a hard fight. And going into that fight, the first round it was easy. Second round it was easy. So I was like, sometimes when you get in the cage, like you talk to yourself in your head or things like that.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey God, I don't need you." And right there and then I know I messed up. Like I wasn't supposed to say things like that. And then I went back to the corner.
Because you felt like I got this.
I got this.
Yes.
I got this. Like I was like, I don't need you. Because you got to remember, I pray before every fight and during the camp. And then now that I'm fighting and I'm winning, I was like, I don't need you. Yeah. And so going into the third round, I was like, I messed up. I think I'm gonna lose. Like I knew I was gonna lose. Yeah. And then going into the third round, I got knocked out in like the first 15 seconds.
Oh man.
And then, I didn't want to tell a lot of people because it was like spiritual, so a lot of people don't believe in that, so I told one of my closest friends, my coaches, and my family. Yeah. And then they was like, yeah, that's what you get for being stupid, basically. You know what I mean? You shouldn't do that. And but now that I know God really like listened to me, that just bring me a lot more confidence, right? So after being knocked out, I came back on I think a week notice. Short notice again. Yeah. And then I was on the rise after that.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen that you rebound pretty quick. You've had some quick turnarounds. Yeah. What's the fastest turnaround that you've had?
All my fight has been like short notice.
Really?
Most of them, yeah. I think I'm only like they only give me two full camp,
Wow.
and I didn't get touched in 2 of them. So
Are you more hard work or are you more talent?
I think I'm both. You know, when I first started training, like I picked on like stuff that we learned quick. You know, and the coaches always say I'm talented. You know, but I didn't think I was talented, but they see something in me. You know what I mean? So, and then it got to the point where like you need hard work. You know, like just talent ain't gonna take you
It
there.
only gets you so far.
Yes.
Yeah. The ticket.
Yes.
But it's like you look around in any sport, but like you look at the NFL and you look at guys that are never going to play in the actual game. They're still some of the world's best.
Yes.
And so it's that extra little bit.
Discipline, right? That's what put all this guy like NBA and all this guy. Yeah, that's just make
Okay. So you came up in the sport pretty fast.
yeah.
How do you keep your head on straight? How do you make sure that you don't wake up in 3 years and like not recognize yourself?
It's easy, man. If you have a team like mine,
Yeah.
it's easy to. It's like family, you know. They like we make fun of each other, you know what I mean, and we just keep it fun. So how you say, I don't do a lot of new people.
Yeah.
You know, I keep the same people around that been there since day one, and that is not scared to tell me when I mess thing up. You know what I mean? So. I have people like that, man. I have a lot. Like the coaches will call me out for, like if I'm not in the gym for 3 days, they call me out. You know, they be like, "Hey, where you at?" This and that. So, having them really helped me.
Okay.
And my family, of course. You know what I mean. Seeing my mom and my nephew. You know what I mean. So, my nephew like, "Hey, I want to be just like you when I grow up." That just keep me humble. You know. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this. They're hard workers.
Yeah.
They're talented. They care a lot about whatever it is that they're doing. Walk me through the mindset that you have to perform at your level. Knowing, like, look, I know that I have a gift, but I also know that I've got to show up and I've got to work really hard. Like, what's going on in your head in order for you to keep at that level and that consistency so much?
I think you just got to be a little crazy about the thing you love, right? Like when I first started fighting, man, I'm actually like crazy about fighting. You know, I couldn't even have real conversation with people. Everything I talk about was fighting.
Yeah.
I'll eat. What I watch was fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even when I pray, I'll be like, I wake up and I'll be like, hey, thank you for, you know, this and that. And then it's about fighting. Yeah. So everything was about fighting. Even when I sleep, like my body would twitch.
Yeah.
You know, like when you do the thing and stuff like that. So I think you just have to be a little crazy about something. And of course, I do pray a lot. You know, I get in the car, I pray. Doing the thing, I pray. Like everything I do, I pray. You know, I let God know, and I ask Him for help.
Yeah.
And the self-belief. Yeah. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Like self-belief, speak into it. Speak about it. Yeah. So you can believe it. You know what I mean? So, and I write a lot of things down.
Do you?
Yes.
You're a journal.
Yes, I call this out. Like before I was a champ, I said I will be a champion by 2026.
Yeah. I saw that picture.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? I just write down something and then I always read it and then I believe it, you know, so before they happen.
That's awesome.